Right, welcome to this introduction to No Huddle Football, which is a new tabletop football game put out by the Clark and Addison Gaming Company. This game exists sort of in between a long play, traditional second and 10 style football game and a quick play game where you roll and just get a score, or even a drive-by-drive level game like fast drive football. So you will play play-by-play, but it will be playing a little bit faster than your normal play-by-play game. So let's walk through this series of videos that'll show you how to play. In this first video, I'll just show you the setup and all the components that you need for the game. So you don't play with dice in this game. You play with card decks. So simple decks of playing cards, you'll need two. It's helpful to have one a different color than the other, but it's not necessary as long as you realize that one is for the defensive pile and one is for the offense. So we have two decks of cards here, just standard decks of cards, nothing special about them. And you want to shuffle them really well. You may even, if you purchase this game and you want to play it quite a bit, you might even want to purchase just a basic card shuffler, because you'll be shuffling the cards probably anywhere upwards of 15 to 20 times a game, because you'll shuffle them after every drive. And you'll also need the special plays chart, which has punts and kickoffs and field goals and any big plays that we have. It has penalties and what to do after a sack, after an interception, after a fumble. You'll also need the team cards. This is one sheet out of about 10 or so. So each sheet has 4. That means there will be 8. I think there are 8. No, that can't be right. There are 4 teams per sheet. There are 4 pages, or 4 teams per page. There are 4 pages per conference. So we have 8 pages total that you'll print out. And these are what you need in order to be able to play the game. If you want to add in a team logo, I did leave that space there. So if you want to take the PDF file and you know how to add in team logos, you can download those from sportslogos.net. And you can only use these cards for your own personal use if you add things like team logos, because you probably don't have the rights to resell cards that have team logos. That's why I can't put them on there. So, but the space is there for to do that. You can see the year and the team name. Each team color is represented. Some of these it's harder to tell. And then here we have the plays chart, we have the passing chart, and we have the rushing chart. These are sort of at the heart of each play, and you'll start at the plays chart, and then depending on whether it's a passing play or a rushing play, you'll choose the appropriate one. We also have the field goals here. So what field goal column do they kick out of, and then what is their season long for their team. The next component that we have is the clock. The clock is here and the game field is here. We have a way to keep up with our downs as well. So you can use the clock or the game field to just track position of the game as the drive is happening. Where's the first down? And so you'll need markers of your own choosing to set where you are, and maybe the first down marker. You'll need one coin or marker to set up your clock. We have our quarters here, first, second, third, and fourth. There's a little bit of a reminder about how to use the clock, which we'll go over in a different video. And then you can use one marker for keeping track of your downs. It's kind of helpful to keeping track in your head is more difficult. So, and the final component that we have is a way to actually track statistics. So we have 2 different ways to do that. You can track individual plays here, passing, rushing, Field goals, punts, kickoffs, penalties, sacks, interceptions. We even have a way to keep track of timeouts. We have our teams here and sort of our overall score. And then for each of these, you have up to 60 passes, up to 30 rushes. If you need more, you could come underneath with the rushing. I know sometimes this is really set up for modern football, where you're going to be passing probably anywhere from 50 to 60% of the time. But I know older seasons, classic seasons, it's a little bit more rushing. So might have to adjust that a little bit as well. And then for each of these plays, you would just put the number of yards or what happened in the play. Sacks, you can keep track of how many yards were lost. Same thing with penalties. With punts, the idea here is the top row is the punt. How many yards does a punt go? And then the bottom row would be the return. And then you can keep track of the distance of the field goals that you try. On the backside is a way to keep track of each drive. So sort of a drive by drive result. Now you can only keep track of the drives if that's all you care about. If you don't care about individual statistics, you wouldn't even have to print out the other sheet. But I like to put them one in front, one on back, just because this helps me to go back and see some different things in the game, and it also helps me to keep a running score, which is very helpful as you go through the game. Sometimes it's hard to keep that in your head as well. But basically what quarter, what team is starting the drive, what's the starting field position and the starting time of possession, what happened on the drive, and then how long did the drive take. So with these stats, you can sort of you can check average field position. You can calculate time of possession for each team for the game, and then you have a little space for keeping track of the score. And once you've completed the game, you should be able to derive quite a lot of statistics from this, passing, rushing, and other things. So that is it. Those are the basic components. So we have keeping track of stats. We have our game clock and our game field. Feel free to use your own clock and your own field. We're using 30 seconds for rushes, completed passes, sacks, and interceptions. 15 seconds off the clock for incomplete passes, punts, kickoffs, and field goals. And then any plays that are less, 2 minutes or less in the second and the fourth quarters. So sort of simulating those before the half drives. That's why we're denoting this with a different color here. So all of these in the second quarter or the fourth quarter would be just 15 seconds per play. If it's a blowout in the fourth quarter and you just want to run time off the clock, feel free to ignore that rule. But it's there if the game is close or the team is trying to come back. And then we're going to have all of our teams. These are such that you can cut them. And the beauty of them is if you fold them as a trifold, they will actually be about the size of a card. You can see that they're the width of a card. So if you fold them in 3, you should be able to actually pack several of these into a card box. You have 2 boxes of cards, so you should be able to put quite a few teams into the card boxes, and it makes it super portable. And finally, we have our special plays chart, which you'll use for things like punts and kickoffs. So this is it. This is the basic setup. No need for dice in this one, just some cards. You probably have a couple of decks of cards laying around, and if not, they're pretty inexpensive and can find them basically anywhere at the grocery store or whatever. So this game is super portable as well. That was the goal of the game, is to make it portable, but also the goal of the game is to create a game that's sort of fast. I've even heard tell of games taking 15 to 20 minutes, which is pretty fast. I don't think I can play it that fast, but if you are not keeping statistics and you're just keeping drive by drive, the game will go much faster, upwards of maybe 20 minutes per quarter, which is pretty quick for a play-by-play football game. In the next video, we're going to show off how to do just the normal plays, doing different plays for passing and running, and show you that mechanic. That's a mechanic that you'll be using over and over.